I told y'all, people, check out my video where I talked about Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson. I told y'all that Megan Thee Stallion gives off, even if that's not true to who she gives off a certain appeal that says, I'm nasty, right? Even if that's not who she is, really. Her persona in her music, her persona out in the public eye is, I potentially could be a little nasty. And because of that, it might attract the wrong man. Now, I'm telling you these things so that way you can think about it and apply it to your life. And think about how you are portraying yourself on the gram, how you portraying yourself on your social media accounts, and what it could potentially give off. Because there's a difference between, okay, being cute and sexy and then just being raunchy. And your dress has to match your speech has to match your dress. You can't be looking for a husband, but you're dressing like you want to be out on the corner. You can't do these things because it just don't mix. A lot of women come to me and they're looking for a husband. They want to get married. They want a long-term relationship leading to marriage. So you got to think about how you're portraying yourself. And the way she was portraying herself said something to Klay Thompson that he thought he could go and try and manipulate her. And I warned people, and people were mad in my comments, like, oh, don't talk about Megan like that. You know, you don't even know her, so on and so on. Why are y'all so obsessed with Megan Thee Stallion? Listen, this is what's in the public eye, and we can use this as a lesson for our everyday lives. That's why I'm talking about it. So that way there's some relevance and something that's relevant to you, and we can use it. So I warned that Klay could be looking at her like a plaything, could be looking at her like a conquest, could be looking at her as just somebody who he could play around with for the time being, because that's what her persona gives off. And lo and behold, we have it, it's out in the media that he's cheated on her. And there's stuff out there that gives a long list of all the different types of people he's dated over the years. Many women over the years. It don't take that long if you're looking for a wife. So you also gotta look at a man's resume and then look to see whether or not he's been single enough, long enough to identify what he truly wants in a person, or is he just jump from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman? And you gotta get into the psyche of the man, so to speak, and try to figure out, okay, well, why were you with this woman, that woman, this woman? What are you truly looking for? And I think by asking those pivotal, important questions, you'll realize the intention of a man. And, you know, I don't know, I wasn't there, but it would appear to the naked eye, the outside eye, that maybe she was looking for love and thought maybe that this was it, but she didn't pay enough attention to his long track record, and she didn't see some of the red flags. If somebody's jumping from woman to woman to woman, he has multiple women in a year, every year, you got to take it very, very slow with that person, and you definitely don't give that man your body right away. You know, if you were coaching with me one-on-one, I would tell you don't get that man your body until marriage, right? Even if you've already given your body away in previous relationships, we're doing something different, right? And to keep your eye on the prize, you don't give away your prize between your thighs. And so you hold on to that for as long as you possibly can, ideally until marriage. And so in giving herself to him, and she said that she dealt with his mood swings and things like that, I think she thought she was in it for, well, I think she thought it was something that it wasn't. He just was like, I got what I wanted, peace. And you got to pay attention to men like that. Like, look at the kind of girls he's dated. Many of them had a certain key look, and you got to go and look and and you'll see what I'm talking about. But many of them had a very distinct look to them where it looks like he wasn't dating for marriage. Well, I mean, he hasn't gotten married to him, so that's obvious. But he wasn't dating for marriage. It looks like he was trying to kind of fulfill a fantasy. So you got to say to yourself, am I a fantasy to this man? Or am I the future wife for this man? Am I fantasy or am I future? Fantasy or future? And if it leans more towards fantasy, like he's just trying to get his rocks off or whatever the case may be, or he thinks this or that, you got to pause and say, hey, even if you've dressed provocatively in the past, even if you may have a certain reputation, right? We're all human. Hey, I don't want to give you the wrong idea. Maybe through the way I appear at times, maybe through some of the stuff I've posted on my Instagram or whatever, you may feel like I'm down with the get down, but I'm not. So I just want to make you aware of that. If that's what you're looking for, hey, more power to you. I'm just going to move on. But if you're looking for something real, something long term, that's going to actually go somewhere, you know, and I'm sorry if I give you that wrong impression. If you're looking for the long term, then we can talk. But if not, I think it's best we go our separate ways before one of us, if not both of us, gets hurt. And that's how you avoid getting made a fool of the way Megan Thee Stallion was made a fool of in the public eye. It's unfortunate. And, you know, we'll see. I may get some nasty comments underneath here, but please understand that if you got to this far in the video, please understand that I'm not tearing down Megan Thee Stallion. I'm not even trying to tear down Klay. I'm just pointing at the things that are obvious. And if you can see those things that are obvious, then you can apply them to your own life. And you can see the times where, oh yeah, I met him in the club and I was wearing a skirt that was this big. Now I wonder he wanted to sleep with me. Now, I mean, should you be looked at as a piece of meat? No, nobody should. But the reality of the situation is that if you walk around with something this small, there will be some men who are going to think a certain thing. You're going to give off a certain perception. And so you got to look at, oh yeah, there was times where I gave off that perception and I got to stop. There were times where I may have been more of a fantasy to somebody else than the future for somebody else. And once you could admit that, you're in a good place. You're in a good place. And if you've ever felt like you were just a fantasy and not the future, and you're having difficulty finding the right man because you feel like they're just mishandling you and they're misinterpreting what you want, give me a call, send me a note, or book a session. You can find me at mymentor.life/julianhill, or you could click my link. It should be in the bio here on YouTube. But reach out so I can give you my perspective on what I see and some things that maybe you can alter a little bit. And also, I can help you as you describe some of the men that you date or are dating. I can help you and redirect you to what you've said you want versus what you're actually going for. And I'll make all the world of a difference. Talk to you soon.